Hey everyone, so this is a quick note because the video that you're actually going to see, I did it on the 27th, which I believe was the next day after my post, so I kept my promise. And then I was going to process it, but I felt I needed to just step away. This channeling, I've kept it very light. You probably see every now and then I'm like, okay, we're going to move on. And I wanted to keep it light so that I can also preserve some energy. I'm debating whether I should have gone deeper with her, but I feel like I've given her a voice, and at the end of the day, it's an open platform, and there's no return there. So it's kind of like weighing up the energy of where you give constantly and how deep to go, because it takes energy. And so that what you just saw was actually me yesterday wanting to post on the community to let you know I've done it. And after I did it, I was researching pictures to see what she looked like and whatever else that I'm going to put at the beginning of the channeling. But again, I was quite tired by the end of the day and it was really late to post it. So here we are, and I'm about to process it. I do know that there's a couple of things that I mentioned in the read, and one towards the end where I think I'll be able to rewind and add a little note just to make sure it's not misunderstood. But a lot of these things you're going to be able to interpret the way you interpret it, and also things might come to light around it. One of the things that I was getting was the difference in the colour of her face and her body. And what I didn't add during the reading is, because I was channeling and you could see as soon as I tried to explain something, I could lose something. I wonder if she was suffocated or something different to whatever was done to her body, because I think she was also in a position that would show that what I described in the read happened to her. But I wonder if she was suffocated or she had a blow to her head. And as I'm doing this, I feel like someone's grabbed the back of my head, holding it so tight I can't move. Like my neck at the top to the bottom of my head has gone so stiff, really stiff. So I think the discoloration between what I see her face and body says a lot about maybe what actually happened to her. And I'm actually thinking, yeah, there's definitely something to the head, and there's possibly something around the neck. I'm feeling that right now. I'm feeling my throat locking up, but my head, at the back of my head, is so tight, as if I'm just going to put my shoulders to make sure. So I don't know also what the cause of her death was. From the newspaper post that I put now, that I'm looking at, when I look, as I've put up as I've got a couple of the photos that I could find, it seems like they found her body a while ago. Because I wasn't sure about that in the read. And I wonder if they actually thought it was someone else. But they thought it was someone else. And this is maybe where the police... I wonder this is also where I was getting a bit of police corruption. A blind eye was turned a lot here. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of them actually would go to those areas themselves, and other corruption. But I think... I also wouldn't be surprised that if they indicated it was someone else and they're still to today not sure it's someone else, and so they're putting it on Rex. But what we see in the reading is I'm starting to actually get tired that I do ask if it was Rex or not. Anyway, this is the read. I still have content I want to cover, and you'll know from the beginning of the read. I hope you enjoy it. I've kept it very light so that it protects myself and you as a viewer. And if you want more of the Rex, then the next one will be up. So make sure you support it in all the lovely, juicy ways.
Hi everyone, so welcome to part 3. If you're joining this part and you haven't seen part 1 and 2, please do, because the way I do my readings, I don't reread, right? I actually don't like covering things time and time again, and a lot of readers either do reads in the background and then, oh, I've got to check the camera. I know I pressed record, but just checking. Yes. Right, so do reads in the background and then they'll do something that they issue. A lot of readers, especially crime readers, may use more the oracle, where the crime is really told to them through the oracle cards. One of those decks, or any of those decks, is on my wish list for whenever possible, which anything I receive through donations or super thanks will go towards me purchasing one of those, but it won't be to replace the tarot cards. So the way I read is, you can say, is more challenging, and not many people may read, because I also channel, right? So I don't just read tarot, I channel with the cards, and that's why often I get asked what layout am I using, etc., and I'm not a tarot reader. If you've seen Jay Slater's reads in the last part 3, if that's the last part, when you see this, it's basically, I walk you through it because I had the question, and people are new to the channel, so they don't realize maybe how I work. So I know that if you're tuning in and you're a subscriber, you probably understand that it's basically, instead of me here closing my eyes and channeling through the person, it helps me bring a bit of a boundary through with the cards while I do some of the channeling. I can channel by just sitting here and connecting to the energy and channeling the person through, or I can do an auto write, or I can use the cards that help me preserve a little bit of energy, but it is still taxing. So what I was getting to is that the sequels will in general cover different stuff. So that's why I always say, please check part 1 and 2. And often they tie into each other, and I get downloads after recordings as well. Obviously things are not always instant as we hope they would be. So please do check part 1 and 2, and check any content you want, and start from the start, and follow through. If you've not seen the Jay Slater case, do check those. I believe it's a worldwide now case. It's insane. I mean, the family have so far got £36,000 in a GoFundMe. That is madness. And if any greed is held on that, and I don't mean anything towards the family, but if any greed that has been set up for greed, don't want to sound too religious, but whoever you believe in, God, the creator, the universe, nothing will replace your son, and you will realize that. If I don't mean it was set up in a way to replace, I mean it, you know, when you set something up and you're like, I just need like 5,000 to cover the repatriation, if anything, to cover my expenses, because I don't know how long I'll be here, so I'll take it to 5,000. But then you're like, but you know what, I could actually get 20 or 30k, so let's just bump it up. Those things, yeah, so I'll leave it there. I think you got the answer, but it would be great to know if any of you have watched the Jay Slater reads. You probably see that like every other content or channels, I could have dragged that out, but I don't like to do that sort of stuff. We're dealing with people and emotions. So before we go ahead, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, engaging, sharing the content. You can hit the super thanks, which gives you an option to donate a small amount towards the video that you like or the content overall that you get on the channel. I don't get paid from YouTube. I don't get any money. I've never had money in the last 2 years of all the work I've put into this channel. So the support really, in some way, you can take it that I've been working voluntary. Yeah, it gets tiring. But I'm grateful to those that do support by subscribing, by commenting and sharing kindness. So having said that, in this one, I was debating on what I'm going to do, but what I'm going to do is we're going to, in the last part, there was a comment by, I believe is now a subscriber, and it's about Shannon, and she's got a lawyer called John Ray. Now, I can't remember the comment exactly, so I might say it wrong. It's not the subscriber. I think Shannon was the last or the latest victim. They believe, but not proven, to be one of Rex's. Disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only. So what I decided to do is actually look up John Ray and see if I can see him speaking on any platform. And I watched a 3-minute clip from a press conference he held. And then I also watched a 5-minute clip of him on a YouTube channel. And I cannot remember what YouTube channel he jumped on to discuss. So we're going to discuss John Ray as well. This is a bit psychic on facts, and also then we engage. At the same time, I've always said, or what I've said from the beginning when I was getting the name, I think it's for the first read, I was like, okay, I'm getting the name Sandra, I'm getting the name Costello. And then when I was saying Costello, it was like Spirit was showing me a small a, but really big, like not a capital A, but a small a, really big. So I was like, okay, where does this go? So Costello, Costella, and I was trying to pronounce. And then I found that Sandra's last name is not Costello or Costella, but it's something like that. But then there's also a victim called Amber Costella, I believe. And so I knew Sandra would be easy to channel through and should like to come through. And I still get that very strongly. I also get that Amber would like to come through as well, although it's not as pushy, but she's there. Like when I think of when Sandra comes in, Amber is not far behind. So those two, I don't know why those two want to come through. I don't know if they were closer in time or what. We're going to look at that. There might be something there. So in this part, what I'm going to do, so last week, I think it was Saturday. Now, with me being an energy healer, I understand that when we get certain pain points in our body or stuff like that, or emotions get trapped in the body and where they are in the body, I can understand certain mechanisms. Anyway, with me, I tend to get shoulder, a bit of neck and upper back tension. And if I don't go for a massage for a very long time, it can just harden a bit, you know. Obviously in the interim, I do my clearing, I do what I know needs to be done to remove the emotions, but there's always a part in your body that might hurt when you're feeling a little bit out of balance or whatever it is, or if you're a bit more stressed. And often I can tell you why that is and what area is out of balance when I do my energy work. Anyway, so I went for a back massage. I think it was Saturday last week. So what date is that? Hang on a sec. This is what I was going to say. And Saturday last week, it might have been around the 22nd or 21st. I can't remember. Okay. And it's so weird because yesterday, if you see this, it might not be processed in time, but I wrote on the community page, which is why it's worth subscribing. I don't write on it much because no one takes notice. So I've written before and I'm like, okay, I don't think anyone's taken notice in time. But it's a good way for us to interact and for me to understand what reads you want. And that's the other thing. If you want to request reads, consider just like at least putting a bit of a support. I get like, I'm thankful, but I get some people like, when are you going to do this next read? When are you going to do this read? When are you doing this read? And everyone wants different topics. And I feel like I'm a bit of a production BITCH for people. You know, it's kind of like nothing in life is free. So at least, hi, how are you doing? And I'm not going to be pushed around. So here's me that goes for the back massage. And I'm laying down and I'm trying to relax. And I don't like I don't know why I'm getting the word lavender, where it's really relaxing and you can hardly feel the touch, and it's kind of like feathered fingers. Because I also work out, so I really like feeling the pressure so that it really gets the knots out. And after she's done, there's still about 1 million knots. I was laying down, I had my face down, and you know, sometimes you can hear like them talking in the corridor, or if they wanted to get the attention of the masseuse, they might just whisper through the door. And I kid you not, I heard like this, help me. And there's me with my head down, eyes closed, and I swear I just was like, I opened my eyes. I was like, what the F? And I heard again, help me. And it was a woman's voice, but do you know when it hasn't got the feminine, like easy tone, but it's got like a bit of a musk tone? And it was said 3 times. And I was like, what the F? Is this someone whispering? I can't ask the woman because she might be like, what the hell is she talking about? And I really, because there was a gap between the 3 times, I was like listening, and it was so clear to me. And usually, obviously, if they want the masseuse is not answering, they'll knock the door, so there's no knock. And in the corridor, the noise was, you could hear the noise, like the actual energy of the tone, you could feel it, it's feminine. This is where you feel the energy, I feel the energy is not completely there. So I think that was, maybe, it could have been Sandra, I'm not really sure, but it was clear, and I was thinking of it, and I was like, okay, so what I might do is give Sandra the opportunity to come through the cards so that I can continue to do the readings with whatever message that she wants to say through the cards. So it might have been Sandra, right? I think it's related to this because I connected it directly. Like I was in this massage and I got this and I corrected it directly to this. And so what I was getting to with the community page is, I was like, yesterday I was writing this whole thing that, you know, for the past 3-4 days, I've been hoping to get an additional video out, so that there's always like 2 subjects on the go, whether it's collective read or whatever. And I haven't had a chance. And then I looked at my list, and like 2 days ago, there was the collective read that I did. And 4 days ago, there was Dulce. And before that, 5 days ago, so 1 day in between, there was John Benet Ramsey. And then a few days before that, or a couple of days, there was content. So there's been constant content. And I was like, I just wrote all that thinking that it's been a whole like 7 days of me not doing more than one content. Even though my readings on Jay have been quite substantial, they're not mini bite readings and they take energy. So I actually wrote, which might have confused people, actually I've just seen it's just been 2 days, but I was feeling like it had been 7 days. So this whole week, when I think of when I had the massage, seems to be really weird. I don't know if anyone else feels like it. Seems like last week seems, when you think of last week or things you've done, it seems like 2-3 weeks ago. So there's definitely a weirdness in the energy and the timelines right now. So what we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to look at Shannon and John Ray, and we're going to look at see what Sandra wants to say. It might just be from her higher self, and that's what I think I prefer. So I'll put, you know, it's kind of how it is. But let's see, because it's going to be a tricky one. Obviously, with me not having crime oracles, and I'm reading through the tarot, if I ask what happened in such a gruesome way, the tarot is not really going to say it. Even if I pull cards, I'm still going to have to channel that energy. The tarot will not tell me the extent of it, if you understand what I'm saying. So I'm just going to give it, I'm going to check in. And now when I press record, I closed my eyes and I was just thinking, okay, what would Sandra say? And straight away it was like, give me a voice. Like she wanted to have a voice, right? What I'm going to do is just, I don't need pictures, but I'm just interested to see her picture. Did he have a certain type, by the way? I know they say that they're connected to the SEX industry, but was it a particular look, a particular age group that he went after, or was it just these kind of women? What I understood from the kind subscribers, that it's indicated that Sandra could also be his first victim. So I don't understand, was Sandra found just recently, although it was in 1993, and has it been proven that it's him, or are they still trying to prove? Or was she actually found back then, but no one was actually, what do you call it? No one was actually convicted of what happened to Sandra. So let's start off with Sandra, but I'm just going to turn the fan off, if you please excuse me for a moment. I was actually going to come on camera to show you my face. Show you my face as I was having the massage, and then my eyes, what would have happened. But then I was like, okay, keep swapping the camera in case you want to see the cards. What else? So let me just ground myself. I am starting to feel anxious. I just need to ground myself. I've already burnt this stick, and I was actually going to leave it while I speak, but I was getting a bit choky. So I know that at some stage I'm going to get some plonker that comes on and says, you're laughing or you think it's funny and stuff, and I don't at all, all right? This actually takes a lot of energy from me, okay? Otherwise I would continue doing whatever other content I want to do or anything else, because the channel is not giving me back, so regardless what happens. So I'm responsible to keep it light. I'm also responsible for viewers and myself. If you've been following it, seeing as he's up for trial soon, has he been into court with the reading? You know, they do that pre-trial of the reading of what you're going to be accused of. Does anyone have a clip of that? Because there's nothing that I see about him. And again, I'm getting about his hair. You remember I said he likes to have either the shine or the gel, whatever he uses with some water when he puts it on. But now I'm also getting like his hair is quite fine as well. What is it about his hair? Is it her DNA that's going to be really important in this? What on earth am I seeing? Okay, let's ground. Let's stop talking. Just give me a few moments. Do you know what? I don't think she was a very laid back woman. Like, I don't think she was someone who's passive. I feel her like quite tomboyish if she needed be. And I know if she's an sex worker, she's going to probably dress up quite sexy. But I feel that she could be someone who's in jeans and, you know, those Nikes that come above your ankle. Like, she's quite funky type. How old was she, by the way? That would be interesting to know. Maybe we'll look at it in a moment. I don't know why I was there, so I'm getting into a bit of a channeling here. Okay, no problem. I don't know why I was there, but I was. It's all in the depths of the sea, the myths. But that's how things turn out. My voice was never heard and never will be heard. But is that what life was all about for me? I had a dream, but it didn't seem as it. So what I'm getting there is that she had a dream, but the life that it turned out to be, I'm not talking the end of her life, was not exactly the dream that she thought set out to do. It was, and I'm getting a word, it's a big word in D. I can't see all the letters though. It begins with D. I'm getting the word desperado. What would we mean by that? Hang on, let's write down. It was filled with desperado. We'll look at that a bit later. Some challenges. Okay, but I could brush it off. So I get the energy from her that she'd brush things off. I think she was quite a funny type. Do you know someone who's like the person who'd be chewing gum and they're like, yeah, whatever. Do you know that kind of person? But then there'd be a lot going on in the background, maybe more to her in the background. But she could brush things off, not get emotionally invested or caught up in stuff. That's how I feel. I might have to leave this as a separate channeling so that we keep it respectfully for her. If I mix John Ray and Shannon, that's something else, but we'll see how long it goes on for. It was the time and it was my time, but I didn't know where my boots would lie. Okay. I might have to connect later to know a bit more on what is meant. Okay, I'll just channel what I'm getting. Again, in the depths of the sea is the myths. So it's something not told. So I'm getting a strong answer for was it Rex, but I want to pull cards on that. And then I'm getting, but he wasn't the only one. They're all messed up. getting the word trolls. Something about orange juice and tomato sauce. Or she likes tomato soup or something. When I think of why was you there, what happened, why she was like, what happened was like, I'm not supposed to be there. So I've got to go ahead to pull cards or to continue channeling. I'm going to pull cards, okay? There's some things there that I might just check on additional things, but that's a little bit of challenge for you. So now, Sandra, these cards that you pull out will be for her. And remember, it could be her higher self. So let me just think of a question. I'm going to actually start off with this deck. It's probably going to bring through something of a higher self. I'm getting the purple. Could have been a colour that she likes. Although I get blues as well, but I don't know if that's because I've seen blue or something like that. So I see her body a lot whiter than what she actually is. I asked why was justice not served. She said, I don't know. She says, I'm here, but not with reason. I don't know what that means. Hang on a sec. Remember, you guys might understand as I'm channeling. And I don't think she means in her life. I think she means in general. Or maybe when she was found. Because, you know, the thing where she says, I wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah, where she was found. I'm here, but without reason. I actually see her body on like ground and like between where her hands would be or her legs, there's like foliage coming through. Or there's grass or there's some stuff. Something about her toe as well. I also don't see, it's strange because I don't see any breasts. I just see flat. So in the first one I was getting that I think he would cut maybe parts off. But again, I see like it's stitched, but body is like so white. And I can see her face not so white, but I don't know if that's because I'm getting the face as a bit more of a living, but the body was just looking a bit like a mannequin. It's all well within when we show up for ourselves. It's all well within when we show up for ourselves. So does that mean when things are going right, we actually show up for ourselves, which makes sense? Was you scared? I've lost the answer. Hang on a sec. I lost the answer, but now I'm getting yes, but no. Again, like I told you, I feel like a very sort of, she wouldn't have been known as a passive female. She wouldn't have been known necessarily as a very dominant, but she has that brush off kind of like, I won't let anyone affect me kind of thing. Why was you there? I wasn't supposed to be there. And then I can see her actually in sort of, you know, office type heels and a mini sort of dress, but it's kind of like, do you know how they say the black mini dress? But it's red actually, and its sleeves are like not string sleeves. They're a bit down, but they're not like halfway down your forearm. Possibly with a little bit of a, you know, where the shoulder used to have in the olden some days, and it came back recently in fashion, where there's a bit of a the shoulder has a bit of oh, what's it called? Do you know when there's a puff shoulder bit, but it's not like too puffy, it's just like a little, and then there's like 3 creases at the end of the shoulder, and then there's that tiny bit that of material that comes over the arm, and it's sort of straight down, but it's on the body. Her heels seem black, office heel kind of stuff, not too high. And she's got a handbag, and it's kind of the strap is chained, but I can't see if it's black or white or a mix. Same with the heels. The heels at first I was getting like black and white, but then I got plain black, shiny kind of element. I'm going to just go into these cards because then otherwise I'm going to get into the scene of that. Let's see, Sandra, if you've got anything to show us through these cards. Your higher self, past self, any sign but clear thing that I can look at. Not annoying, okay. It's interesting for come out because I was thinking to do the astrology of when she was found, and I was feeling that there would be a 5 in it, right? And we've got 1 and 4 and it's 5. Oh my God, doesn't that look like it's not her doing a massage, but I mean energy medicine is a massage. It's actually her holding a teapot, but it feels like a spa, doesn't it? So I wonder if that's actually confirming that it was her. And I did feel, like I said, she's been wanting to come through and come through and come through. Here I get, you know, I'm looking at this, but I also get the writings are on the wall, and the evil is right in front of us, but we've not been looking at it. So look at this card, right? He's looking in the right direction, but he's not looking there. That's what I'm getting with this card. I wonder if she was from a different ethnicity as well. And I wonder if she liked jazz music, she liked to play the... I wanted to say play an instrument, but I'm getting strongly she preferred to like... She would... One of the things she liked to do, which doesn't... She gives me the kind of image of like an R&B chick, but I feel like sometimes that either should go hang out in a jazz bar or should like to actually sit there when she could sit there. And I can actually see a couple in this card here, and the woman's looking up and the man's looking in a different direction. I think it looks like it's supposed to be a ballet. So I think she liked music. And I think she actually felt it quite soothing for her. Now in her past, maybe she was actually a singer or a performer in her past life. I definitely think there's a difference in her culture with these cards. And she didn't mind being like the center of attention. Like I said, I see her at that chick that, you know, she's not a nasty person. And please forgive me for saying that, but she's not a nasty person. I mean, Sandra. But like, she'd stand, you know, why I'm saying the girl that chews the chewing gum, where they're strong, but they're not, she's not like a bully or something. I don't necessarily mean that, but she is strong. She's not a passive woman. Something about the signs were behind her as well. And I wonder if that evening she should have really, she was tired and she should have gone home, but she didn't. And that's why she says she shouldn't have been there. 5 is a number of change and 6 is then moving on. And there's foliage here, isn't there? So that maybe she could have been where her body was found. And I definitely think there's something foreign. And there was probably a need for her to understand some of her traumas to help, like, feel identified and a belonging. And maybe she was caught up with quite a lot of past energy. You know, I said she had a dream. When she moved to that dream, it wasn't as it seemed. And to ground your energy, she needed to go into practices of, what did I mention about you'll find yourself? In the best of yourself, no, in, what is it? When you're in the best of yourself, you'll find yourself. It wasn't exactly that, but I feel that that was what she's learned. That she could see it while she had her best days when she believed in herself and whatever that sentence was. But then there was days where she needed to look inside of herself and be with herself to balance herself out. But it wasn't something she understood at the time. I'll be interested to see if she was in the SEX. A bit of disharmony, yeah? A bit disharmony. We all have that. Maybe a closing off of her heart where she felt like something about her past. Okay, let's get a couple of these cards. I will keep this actually separate so that we can just label it Sandra's channeling. Let's just look at the time. Imagine I do. It's a fairly decent amount of time. Hopefully I wasn't talking about my massage for half an hour. Okay, 1 second. So I'm just inviting her back in. She's here, but, you know, kind of inviting her back in. And she says, thank you. I definitely think like she's a nice person, but she's not warm. She's not, I think she's closed herself off. Like you didn't get to see the real inner her. Like a lot of people didn't, but I don't know. I don't know. You have to let me know, is any family or friends spoken for her? And again, if you have Rex's pre-trial or something like that, show me what you can show me in these cards. What message? Show me what message? I'm getting ice cream, you know, I'm kind of like, I hope not, Sebastian, I hope you're not coming in at the forefront. And I feel like I'm getting both energies. Hang on a sec. Like I can see them both. Yeah. So, I do have Sebastian. Okay, I've got Sandra back at the front. Got 1 and 4 again, the 5 that I mentioned. We'll have to look up the dates. We've got 7 and we've got a 7. Double 7's justice. Justice is likely to be served. And when I asked about Rex, which I'm going to pull the cards before I tell you, she's also telling me, although she's giving me a confirmation, it's hard to know. So I think it's going to be hard to prove that it was him. And there's something in my gut that's not. That's why I want to pull cards. And I struggle with identifying people to say they're guilty of something so hefty of this without, sorry, I'm pulled to one of the cards, without feeling 100% in my gut. But I will get to that when I question it. So this is where, you know, I think she was attached to, instead of loving herself and finding the gaps that she felt in life within herself, is knowing that she's enough, is that it pushed her to do certain things. And also I feel like she'd come across very codependent men that would attach to her and be quite toxic, and then she'd be trying to get away, whether it's in relationships or whatever. But again, I feel like she's the type of person where it's kind of like, even if she got in a relationship and he walked off, she'd be like, yeah, whatever. And I think it's because she closed herself so much off because of what happened. This is the kind of color I see her body. And can you remember how I said about foliage? She didn't really listen to her inner self, but I also wonder if she didn't have many people to help her and for her to feel like she was loved. Be interesting to know her background. She didn't have time to, interesting. She didn't have time to express herself. And what I wanted to say, she didn't have, okay, so I know where that's coming from. 1 second. She didn't have the ability to express herself and vulnerability. She didn't have time to express herself is coming from, as we live, like in the near future, she would have realized the need to soften up. And even if she didn't have people around her, was to try and have compassion for others to help soothe her soul and heart. And again, I tell you, she's not a cold person. I don't want that to be in there. And I truly thank her for coming through, because I'm sure she could have come through to a lot of people. I'm getting a bit sad now, and I'm not really sure why. Yeah, she never got the chance to realize that importance of that self journey. She never got, we're talking about higher self now that we can see, she never got, do you know how life puts you through such a hard chapter? It actually humbles you, that you become compassionate to others and you open your heart because you go through a dark shadow. She never even got to that stage, so it would have taken some more years. And what she says, she wasn't given that ability because of her life cut short. There's something about her head, her hair, and I won't be surprised if there was some burning or something. There's a lot about this, about hair, isn't there? Can you see here? It's not actually the eye that's crying, but there's a teardrop on the leaf. And that's where I think she was, inside her, she wasn't emotionless, but she was not able to be vulnerable. But she had that inside of her. And it was kind of masked. Let me just see, because I know that this has a bit more information and I just want to see what else. The card is not, the description of the card is not going to be exactly the same. But I know that it does have something else that I think might be kind of like, is she looking at life the right way? Well, let's see what it says. Okay. What if you were solely defined by your compassion for others and the kindness you extend? How would your life look? I think it's exactly what I've been saying. How would you conduct yourself if Ubuntu was solely what you were noted for? This is a time to emphasize with others' journey and put yourself in their shoes, for better or for worse. The girl pierces her eye with the leaf and it opens the window to her soul, and she learns the challenges and the gifts of others' journey. Well, I think I just channeled all this. Be defined by your willingness to put others' needs before your own, just so as you would appreciate they might do in your times of need. I think I channeled all this, and it seems like I got kind of maybe her personality to the T as well, which is interesting, isn't it? I do think there's something about fire, whether they will realize that, or again, I don't know when she was found, but here it's, I wonder if she's quite psychic. What's her date of birth? I wonder if she would have like spirit signs. And getting a yes for that day, she had like a sign, and that's why I think she says she wasn't supposed to be there. But also here there's like white lilies, so it's kind of like it was her time. It was her time. I think she got an inkling that it was her time. And I think at the same time she's trying, or she has, it's been many years, what has it been? 20 years. She's still trying to understand the beauty of the situation she was in. She's healed. Healed or healing? Healed. But still struggles with it. She understands it, but she still struggles with the bridge of her life and then the ending that happened. And I think here with the eye and the crown chakra, she needs to come to a peaceful, and maybe it's through having her voice heard right now, it's going to help her. Maybe that's why I've been getting her coming through, is for a peaceful kind of contemplation, and not to fear where she is right now. And that it was needed for her to go into the darkness so that she can become aware of the answers that she's seeking. And then through this, it's kind of like sharing that wisdom, isn't it? So I think I've still got time. Let's just keep these a moment. I'm just thinking what tarot deck I want to use. I think I'll have to end the channeling soon. Let's just check. Oh wow, we're at quite a bit, aren't we? Okay, so, because we can always do it again, but I need to make sure we can get the video up and spacing right. I haven't even crossed anything on my list. Interesting, we've got the Death card at the bottom. Remember I said something about boots. What did I say? What was it? Where my boots would lie. And I've written it with an exclamation. It's interesting, isn't it? I need to make sure I don't throw that scrap paper. Oh, and here, look. Can you see? Can you see? The shoes of the person is very dominant. And it seems like people turned a blind eye, and it's as if the person who caused this, by the way, was there some foul play or hidden thing by society, by police or someone? Here it's like the person just gets away, but there's someone here that's, yeah, there's something that didn't happen right. And blind eyes were turned. Okay, let's go. Major arcanas. It's interesting because I just asked, was Heuermann in the person? And the cards I got is not the cards that I asked for, but the cards that I've just asked in terms of tell me what you want to show me has brought out the cards that I wanted for the answer. So, but we're going to ask that question again if I feel it's right. I wonder if her mother either had her quite young and she couldn't keep her or didn't want her. So there's some kind of background here. She had a lot of fears around love, but also there was, I think her past was a bit of a secret. And either her or her mum or her dad, her mum or her dad were not ready. And I think it's more of her mum. I think there might have been a run-in with police, and I think it would have been, look at that. She was definitely SA'd. SEX activity happened before she was killed. And she was, why do I say, I can't, the words, I just can't remember not to say the sensitive words. And it's a pain in the backside, but so, you know, again, the likes, the shares, the commenting really help when the algorithm kind of tries to attack on the words, the sensitivity of the certain words. It helps if the content is at least balanced by the views and the support. Here is the person, the grandiose, who essayed her and ultimately was her death. I don't know why I'm also getting that there is some kind of police kind of thing, or someone that works in the law enforcement. I don't mean that he necessarily did it, but I wonder if there was kind of like a blind eye being turned also being turned on. 1 second, the card's fallen, and here we go, I can't pick it up. The blind eye being around the communication of what actually happened, the movement and everything that what happened. I wonder if the actual fact of the SA abuse or the SEX taken beyond what it should have done. Let's say if she was in the industry, and I'll ask that in a moment. I'm not sure she was in the industry, and so I think not only did it go beyond, but I wonder if she might have been out with this person. She wasn't at the right place at the right time, and she met this person, and the forward movement occurred. Look at this card, yeah. I definitely think that she was found with some mutilation. I get it here. And I do get there was some transport. But she was SA'd, or there was SEX with this person. She was unalived. There was transport, and then there was some kind of mutilation here. I'm not doing too bad, am I, with the story here? I thought I was going to find it. And there's the heartbreak. Knight of Pentacles that I just saw. Hierophant. The heartbreak because the police didn't recognize it. Exactly what I was getting. So the police didn't recognize it. But I'm also getting that area, it's kind of like it's kind of like a group of them. Probably the men that go to that area. But I won't be surprised if there's a ring there as well. And that if there was like even police officers that would go to certain areas and pick up these women. But there was a blind eye turned on this. Let me just get... Blind eye turned on this. Sun in reverse. A death. Like I said, a blind eye on her death. But what I'm getting with this is that something happened in a building. Why I'm pausing is because I want to say home, but if I say home, I feel like it directly links it to Rex. And her past love were also her hidden enemies and portrayed some danger towards her. Her dream to also, I'm getting the word heal again, heal and possibly have a stability home life was taken from her. When we see the Sun and the Four of Wands, and then we've got the Death card, can you see how many major arcanas are in this? Very strong reading for her. One second while I tap into the cards. I feel like I said, she felt there was a sign that things were going to go wrong. She wasn't supposed to be there. Whether she was supposed to be there initially for something or meet someone or something like that, but she wasn't supposed to be there. And she says to me, this was not supposed to be my time. Obviously, we know with God it is, but again, I think that's that element of it. I wonder if it was done at night as well. and then her body may be dumped in the early hours. There's something here about a home as well, even beyond the part that she was stripped of that stability of having her own kind of family and stability, which I think she was working towards. There was a bit of a delay in this, by the way. There was a bit of a time kind of delay. Nine of Wands. Okay, so I'm getting like, thank you for letting me have a voice. Three of Pentacles in reverse, Six of Swords, and the Nine of Swords. She wasn't able to peacefully move away. Something went wrong, and I think she was in an area where there was more people. And I wonder if she was grabbed aside. And she couldn't get away, and that's when she started feeling really, really anxious. I think she also felt whether she was with this person while they were moving or something like that, she felt an airy feeling, like she just, whether they were transporting and she started getting anxiety, something, this was a public place at first, but there was disharmony, and I think she was taken aside. Just make sure that I've got it the right way up here. Yeah. Queen of Cups in reverse and the Five of Pentacles. So I definitely think, you know, she was approached here. This could be the exchange of whatever she was in that industry. The Two of Cups there. The Queen of Pentacles in reverse with the Five of Pentacles is interesting. So there was a lot of suppressing of emotions, and there was emotional blackmail here. There was some blackmail, and like I said, I think she feels that that night she wasn't supposed to be there and she should have listened a little bit more to herself. I think she was a bit maybe tired or feeling insecure and not listening to herself, being maybe a little bit, you know, when you're tired and you're emotional and you're not in your right frame of mind. Maybe she wasn't feeling very well. And maybe she felt like her finances were a bit tight or something. Again, I'm not really sure if she's someone who is in the industry or if she'd sometimes go to certain places where she could maybe hook up with someone who was a bit wealthy to help balance sometimes. There's something here where I'm not really 100% sure if she was involved in that industry. I don't know if this happened in winter. I'm getting that it could have been quite a cold time when this happened. I know it's 1993, and I said I wanted to look up the date to see if there was a 5, didn't I? When I break down the numbers. But I think that this might have been a cold time. Last two cards. What do you want to tell us? And two cards popped out, exactly. Oh my God, 5s. So 5 is a dominant. Let's write that down. A lot of ego was at play. I don't think it's necessarily her, but I do think she has a bit of a stubborn stand-up ego. But here we've got, like, with these cards, I think there was a bit of emotional manipulation. So whether she met this person and it was kind of like, take you back to my house and I don't know what, but it turned out to be very different. and that would make sense for who it could be. Okay, and then we've got the Five of Cups, and the Five of Cups here in reverse can be from the other person's side, callousness, you know, and from her side it's kind of like both of them being a bit jaded, but there is past trauma here for her, and there's past trauma for the person as well. Not getting over past trauma that I feel makes this person do these things. Okay, I feel like I need another last card, Sandra, to end this part of the story, please. Ten of Pentacles, all about money, all about kind of your name, all about being seen as this successful person. Home being involved, money being involved, kind of grandiose type of person being involved. Behind the scenes and then at the forefront is a different image, and it's interesting. We get a woman and we've got a girl here, you know what I'm thinking, and we've got some dogs. So I wonder if at the time there was some pets. I feel like she wants to say something else with that Ten of Pentacles. 1 second. I'll use another deck, okay? I hope this is still recording. Hold on a sec. Yeah. Yeah? Yeah. She was trapped. Some of it was at the home. She was very much trapped. She was not able to walk away. She did try, and I believe she was found in Earth. We get 8. That's very significant here. And I'm getting told to add the numbers up. I get a 16, which comes back to our 7s. Justice is going to be served, because she was also reminding me that I wanted to go back and ask if Rex is the person. So let's just ask. I think he is. I think he is. I mean, it's answered me yes, but initially it didn't show me the cards that I wanted. But we can ask that question again separately. I'd like to read on her story in our next part when we look at Shannon John Ray. The other part that I also want to do is check on his energy right now as he's in prison. And I want to see if he's feeling any indifferent, and how was he feeling at certain years, to see when he actually snapped. If you enjoyed this, I bet you didn't expect me to do this channeling, did you now? You know what to do. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.